lot of players returning this season. Covering some of their crucial talents, we have goalkeeper Antonio Adan, getting up there in age with a solid overall rating of 81. Sebastian Coates will be another leader in defense, captaining the team. And then we got two of the younger talents in the Sporting squad. Alina, a center defensive midfielder with an overall rating of 82, and then the talented winger Pedro Gonçalves is right up there with having the most potential in the squad. Players loaned in are also a massive part of the Sporting squad. Pablo Sarabia plays listed as a right winger, he's playing down the left-hand side for us on loan from PSG. There's only two incoming January transfers to cover. Slimani has an exceptional rating on FIFA at a 75 overall. We'll offer some squad depth. And then we got Marcus Edwards, the only transfer from another Premier League squad. He is also an ex-Spurs Youth Academy player. Sporting is very much known for developing players through their Youth Academy. They sent a lot of our talents on loan. For example, you've got one of the top prospect fullbacks in Nuno Mendes, who is getting significant playtime over at PSG. Hopefully we can have the next top talent here with our own homegrown talent. Victor Martins is actually a goalkeeper. This is the first time I've run into this glitch in FIFA 22. If you take a look at his stats distribution, he basically has all the attributes of an outfield player, but you're unable to change his position, so we're kind of stuck with a 23 rated goalkeeper. That shouldn't be too much of a problem. We have fully to spend in our transfer budget. I actually intend on using those funds toward our Youth Academy system, starting with a 4-star scout from Portugal, staying in his home country to search for any type of player, and then we'll add a 5-star scout, also establishing a network in Brazil, which is absolutely crucial for Crumos in Portugal, as it is the top 4 nationality in the league. Also signing up one more 5-star scout, and for this season, we're going to rotate things around, but we'll start in Argentina to search for a digital stronghold. Board objectives are something I keep in mind to make sure our manager rating stays at a sufficient level, but it's not the top priority. For domestic success, though, they're looking for us to win in the league, also winning the Portuguesa, and for Champions League expectations to reach the quarterfinals. Of course, to add that extra realism, I try to replicate as many results as possible heading into the January transfer window. That will leave us top of the league table, and for Champions League, Sporting did very well to advance out of their group. Not an easy task with Ajax, Dortmund, and Besiktas. Over this half of the season, we're going to see some significant jumps up in squad morale and also a few improvements in overall rating. I'm not actually spending funds to make transfers, but rather focusing more so on our Youth Academy, which I want to be a huge emphasis in this realistic rebuild. Trying to sign roughly 6 players for at least the first few seasons. Hugo Miranda is a 68 rated right back. Doesn't have the best potential, but I'd still sign him because overall is quite high. Esteves is up next, a 62 rated Portuguese left winger, 79 into 90. Cardenas, a 62 rated right winger, also for Portugal with potential of 84 to 94. Our final January signing will be our homegrown talent, up to 26 overall. What we're trying to do is send him out on loan, as he does have that good potential, so maybe we can see a jump up in grade. Sporting haven't had the greatest start to the Champions League knockout stages as they lost their first fixture against Manchester City 5-0, and it seems like our luck will continue in this save as we drew the first leg against Inter, losing out in the second leg on penalties. And to make matters worse, we also suffered a long-term injury for our starting goalkeeper, Adan. But because we had such a good start to the season, we're just trying to keep enough form to finish top of the table. This match against Benfica will be the decider. It's first versus second, and if we can secure a victory, we will mathematically win the league title. I'm excited about some of the changes to the Primeira Liga for FIFA 22. Benfica and Porto both having the real stadium added, and with club and stadium customization, you can do a pretty good job with recreating Sporting's home ground, the Estádio José Avelã. This certainly won't be an easy match. I consider Sporting, Benfica, and Porto to be big 3 teams in Portugal. We'll see which side is better. To get to these gameplay highlights, it is Núñez to open up the scoring for Benfica. Again, that injury to Adan proving to be costly as he has a low rate of goalkeepers between the sticks, and will now need to rely more on our attack to try to level things up. It's a good ball to set up Sarabia. Unable to get that one by, though, as it is selected by Block. And Sarabia again in the 27th minute. Has a couple of supporting options in the middle, and he's going to go towards the far post. Gonçalves spotting out the run from our midfielder. We are able to level things up. 28 minutes into this one, it's exactly what we needed. We're now trying to keep that going, but shortly after kickoff, it's a hard time marking Núñez as he's going to set up the assist for João Mario. Again, it's Benfica ahead. Still plenty of time left in this one, but this wasn't how I was hoping to start the gameplay, especially the first match that we're actually playing in this save. But it's our wingback, Ruben Vinagre, on loan from Wolves, and he will be setting up the assist for Paulinho. Has some good target man finishing inside the box, and 60 minutes in or so, we are again level. Making a substitution is going to be the English player Marcus Edwards, who will feature, and we'll see if he can make the difference in this one. Again, it's going to be Vinagre applying the pressure, and he's able to win back possession for us in a dangerous area. He finds Paulinho, and very similar to the first goal that we scored with him, this effort will give us the lead, and maybe this will allow us to lift some silverware at the end of this match. 76 minutes, and it's Paulinho who shows some pace and some strength, and again his finishing ability, providing the hat-trick. Even if his rating isn't the highest, we're not playing in the top 5 leagues, so we don't need to have those superstar players. It's going to be a slightly different approach for this Sporting realistic rebuild, but we've achieved our main objective for Season 1, lifting the Primeira Liga title. We'll cover all competitions, ultimately finishing 12 points clear of Benfica in the league. Losing out in the semifinals to Benfica in the Taça Portuguesa, and go on to win the competition. That round of 16 exit in Champions League was somewhat expected, with Liverpool winning the final against Manchester United 2-0. Two surprising teams in the Europa League final, but it's Atletico Madrid who comes out on top with Athletic Club Bilbao winning conference. The 3 goals that Paulinho had against Benfica was a sign for how good he was this season. 5 goals, 46 appearances. In the assist category, the only player that did it was Ruben Vinagre, so maybe we try to bring him back on a permanent basis next year. I did want to check in on some of the players that were voted out from the club, and just also in his rating with Plata going to +2 over in La Liga. And Cabral at Lazio also going up +2 to a 79 overall. We'll get 2 final promotions from our youth academy. We've got Fernandez, an Argentine talent, 65 overall with potential of 84 to 94. And 1 final player from Portugal, Rodriguez, a 63 rated center attacking midfielder with potential of 90 to 94. A combination of harsh board objectives and a lack of success in Champions League means our manager rating is only at 59. Some improvements needing to be made in Season 2. I have a lot of changes in mind this year. Quite a few players returning from their loan spells and also some potential departures. As far as board objectives go, I'm much happier with the current state of things. Actually realistic for us to sign some players from South America. Again, expectations to win the league title, win the cup, and in Champions League, trying to reach the quarterfinals. Here's a look at our group. We've got Spurs, Trabzonspor, and Lokomotiv. Budget-wise, a rise this season up to 55 million, and that number will go even higher because we're looking to let some players leave. Even though players like Menges have the most potential, the most realistic thing to do is let them leave to other clubs in Europe, mostly in the top 5 leagues. And while a return to PSG would be the best option, I'm more than happy to review this offer from Barcelona, agreeing upon a 60 million transfer fee. Also, Gonzalo Plata heading to Juventus for 40 million. I would see him likely making a return to La Liga IRL. 1 final player leaving with Tabata going to Arsenal, making a move to the Premier League for 27.5 million. I previewed this transfer for Vinagre, and it looks set to happen as a 10 million fee or so was agreed upon between Wolves and Sporting to have him join on a permanent basis. We're going to need to spend significantly more than that, 30 million to be precise, but that is still a small dent. For a player like Vinagre, whose potential can definitely get into mid to upper 80s. We still have that problem at goalkeeper with Adon recovering from his 6-month injury, so I figure why not make an improvement at that position. Also look to sign one of those players from South America, with Neto, who is a squad rotational goalkeeper at Barcelona, on quite high wages there, so they're probably okay with him leaving. And for just 8.5 million, this is a good deal. Goalkeepers don't tend to decline as quickly as rating as they get older, so we should be set for a couple of seasons. Continuing our scouting network, as always, nothing a scout in Portugal. This time around, looking for a goal. In Brazil, we're going to be searching for a technical gifted player. Another final scouting network will be as we get set to begin our season, here is what the starting 11 looks like. Despite the departures, I am quite happy with our team sheets. We still got some players for the future, along with some veteran talents who have a higher overall rating. We'll see how we're doing here in January 2023. Again, finding ourselves top of the league and advancing to the knockout stages of Champions League. Hopefully, we can advance even further into the knockout round this time around. But we are seeing some improvements in the squad overall ratings. But I did want to showcase this transfer offer from Marcus Edwards. I found it pretty comical. The Spurs are coming back to one of their own youth academy players. We're going to decline that, and instead, we're going to be putting all 6 of these players in our youth academy. That's persons like White Talent, 15 years old, already at an overall of 68 and potential of 99. Lopez also with a 68 overall, potential of 87. Carmona with his 67 overall, 89 to 94. And all these talents from Spain just keep on coming in. Rizzo with a 67 rating and potential of 85 to 91. Closing things out with some Portuguese talents. Braga, CSB, with 66 overall, potential of 99. And he doesn't end up working out with Kratza with 64 overall, potential of 90. So with that said, we'll get into the second half of Season 2 and into the round of 16 against Lyon. Winning the first leg, 2-0 cursive goals from Matías Núñez and Paulinho. Second leg also goes in our favor, 1-0. As we're into the quarterfinals against RB Leipzig. You all know how I feel about them. They're quite easy to play against in the simulation as we pick up 2 good outings and advance 3-2 on aggregate. Semi-finals against Barcelona, very team that Menges left for, and clearly some of the new arrivals for them proving the difference with Ferran Torres and Aubameyang getting 2 goals in the first leg, Griezmann and Ansu Fati getting goals in the second leg, meaning that we won't quite advance to that Champions League final. But we do have a cup final in the Taça Portuguesa, which we have still yet to win, and fortunately our opponent will be Porto, another team that I wanted to focus some gameplay on in this save. If we do go on to win this match, that will be the double because we finished 3 points away of Benfica in La Liga. Porto seem to be going through a rebuild of their own. Of course, Luis Diaz making the January transfer to Liverpool. They have signed Brereton Diaz in this save, which I found quite interesting. On paper, this should be a pretty even fixture. I would assume that the average overall rating of the squad would be right around the 80 to low 80 mark. And we'll pass the final, as long as you don't match up against the big three. It's a pretty easy road. Getting into these highlights, it's Brereton Diaz who shoots up. Good save in the end by Neto. Gotta say, this was a tense match. Fouls for both teams, and it is Brereton Diaz that makes up the early goal. Well bid a red, but we're going to get another chance here in the third night, and then Matías Núñez setting up the over-the-top ball to Paulinho. And how about that for a finish? The diving header. Can't really recall too many times that I had diving header finishes the last week. So good mix up the goals that we're scoring, and Paulinho seems to be the one providing the majority of goals for us. Onwards to the second half, Vitinha again seems to be the player to watch out for in this Porto squad. Played a big role in the build-up to that goal as Porto find the leveler 49 minutes in. Now it's anyone's match to play for. He will be lifting up the silverware. Painters as a Portuguese this time around. Paulinho, Cedric Gonçalves has a supporting run down the left from Cabral. Good pitch in the end. The pass was a little bit behind him, but Giovanni ends up putting the ball out of the reach of the keeper as we again take our lead. And it's Cabral who's going to set up the assist now to Gonçalves. Has the pace to get by the Porto defenders. Also has the finish to put this match out of reach. It's 3-1. So in our second season, we will be lifting 2 trophies. All in all, pretty good campaign. Semi-finals of Champions League and all the success we could have had in Portugal. Reviewing all competitions, we did see that exit against Barcelona in the semi-finals. We then went on to Manchester City in the Champions League. Arsenal will win Europa League against Fenerbahce, and it's Marseille. Gonçalves showing why he is one of Sporting's best prospects. Up to an 88 overall, 35 goals for 50 appearances. Huge numbers from the right winger position. Also leading the league in goals. Nunez with 11 assists along with Paulinho. Our best youth academy talent today is Castro. He's got up to 12 in his overall this season, up to the 70 mark, and now eligible for promotion to the senior team, where we can then send him out on loan. All in all, our manager rating is in a much better place. Now we just have Champions League to check off this week. Similar to last season, once we start to see some success and player overall rise, that does mean that we'll have players leaving the club. The question is, which one of our top talents will be heading out? I think the expectations from the board will more or less stay the same moving forward. Really, the only one that might change is our success in Champions League. As this season, they want us to reach the semi-final. Here's a look at our Champions League group. We have FC Bayern, Club Brugge, and Hajduk Split. A significant rise, though, in our budget, over the 100 million mark, closing in on 150 million. But generally speaking, I think Gonçalves is the best player, and any club in the world would be happy to have him arrive. In the end, I thought the Chelsea offer was the most appealing. One of the best players in England, but of course, he had success in the sports arena. 200 million is a lot to spend on a single player, but because Gonçalves has been special I believe it's not an issue, it may be worth it for them. The plus side of him leaving is that we are able to make a couple of arrivals. I didn't realize it at the time, but Duarte is a former Sporting player. From my understanding, never really broke into the starting 11, then made the move to La Liga, and now he's up to an 81 overall, so that's going to be a welcome addition to our defense as he makes the transfer for 35 million, especially now that some of our center backs are going to start declining in their overall. The other arrival, I know that Porro is a player that spent a season on loan with us, but I think he's exceeded the overall rating to justify a realistic transfer, so we're going to sign another Spanish right back, in Pablo Maffeo, who plays over at Stuttgart, has been sent out on loan a couple of times, so I think move Portugal could make sense for his career as he makes the transfer for 25 million, which again is one player's valuation, plenty of funds at our disposal. Gradual improvements to our starting 11 while maintaining the aspect of real might be enough for us to achieve Champions League success. We'll see how we look in January. This time, playing Edinburgh and we'll again see a second place finish in our Champions League. Down to the final match day, but a draw against Club Brugge was enough for us to advance to the knockout stage. Injuries to our starting 11 seem to be a recurring theme. Now it's Duarte that's going to be out for a couple of weeks. Just one departure here, one of our rotational strikers heading to Hellas Verona for 4.3 million. And as we head into the knockout stages of Champions League, starting 11. Starting with the picture against Liverpool. They may have made it to a Champions League final a few years ago, but their success is going to end here as we advance 5-4 on aggregate. Quarterfinal against Manchester City. I thought this was fitting considering City are likely going to be the team that's going to have this season's Champions League competition. They're going to do the exact same thing in this group. Unfortunately, this is going to be a season where we don't achieve as much success, finishing second in the league, the first round exit in the Taça Portugal. And then, of course, the quarterfinal exit in Champions League, with PSG winning the competition against Manchester United, Atletico Madrid again winning the Europa League, and it's not the league, so winning Conference League against us. Clearly, the departure of Gonçalves impacted our performance. Cabral still with some good numbers, 23 goals from 39 appearances, and then in the assist category, Nunez from midfield. One bright note is that Braga, that potentially be special season on loan at Sonic Piazza, 7 overall 74, but now he's starting to get into the competition for that starting goalkeeper spot. We'll again see a big drop-off in our manager rating, so heading into Season 4, we need to focus more on our board objectives. While I spent the first few seasons of this rebuild focusing heavily on realism, the only way for us to take a step up in Champions League, in my opinion, is to sign a higher caliber of players. And if we don't do that soon enough, we're probably going to get sacked by the board. They again want us to win the league, win the cup, and reach the semi-final of Champions. Because we finished second in the Premier League, we will need to first go through the qualifying round, but here's a look at our transfer budget. Again, a rise this season up to 190 million or so. And for full transparency, the only signing we made here in the summer was actually completed in Season 3. The only way for Cristiano Ronaldo to return back to the club he got his start at was if we made the signing at the end of last year, because he will be retiring at season's end, regardless of the contract length. Even though he's no longer at his peak overall, maybe an 85 rated Cristiano Ronaldo can bring glory in Champions League to his first club. That does mean Paulinho will be on the way out. ultimately accepting this offer from Real Madrid for a 50 million fee. I thought it was quite fitting that Real Madrid is one of Ronaldo's former clubs. But an early start to this season's matches as we play against Michelin in Champions League qualifying. Here's our starting 11. Ronaldo already dropping in his overall, which is not great to see, but he'll be wearing that captain's armband for us. Getting into the simulations, a 0-0 draw in the first leg of qualifying, but we end up getting the only goal from Ronaldo in the second leg to see us advance to the playoff round against Feyenoord. Again, it's Ronaldo scoring along with Maffeo to give us a 2-1 lead in the first leg, 3-1 in the second leg, which is through 5-2 on aggregate into the group stage against Real Madrid, Salzburg, and Sparta Prague. Will this be the year we make strides and redeem ourselves in League and Champions League? We're again second, equal on points with Porto, again a second place finish in Champions League. This is probably the lowest point total I've seen, with us still advancing to the knockout, only one win and 4 draws. Fortunately, Ronaldo hasn't seen too much more of a decline, down 1 lower in his overall to 3, but I still think this starting 11 can see success. Making a signing within the league, it's Lincoln, a midfielder from Santa Clara. I want to bring in another Brazilian to the starting 11. The transfer fee is a lot for an 81 player, but there's not too many high-potential players that play outside the big teams. As Lincoln shifts into the left center attacking midfield, we will be the team to take on the knockout stages. Actually moving back to the center back position. I was kind of tired of seeing a negative sharpness because it took too long for him to eventually convert to the center mid position, and this formation doesn't suit me center midfield. But as Atletico Madrid in the round of 16, a late goal from Giovanni ends up giving us the equalizer. In the second leg, we will see the aggregate scoreline in our favor, bringing us through to the quarterfinals against Chelsea. It's a rematch against Gonçalves, and the first leg ends in a 1-1 draw. With our new signing, Ronaldo scoring both goals in the second leg, putting us into the semifinals again against Manchester City. Can we get our revenge? We really should have had the aggregate scoreline lead into the second leg. This penalty from Giovanni ends up costing us, as again, we'll see an exit in the semi-final, losing out in the Premier Liga by Porto, also a loss in the toss of As far as Champions League goes, Manchester City do win the competition. Both times that we reached the semi-final, we lose the winner. Berlin withdrew up the victory against Leipzig, Milan despite a drop in his overall, Ronaldo still leading the club in goals, 23 goals and 50 appearances for the assist category. Edwards is starting to see a growth in his rating. He's taking over at the right wing for Gonçalves, will hit the double digits mark. Castro, who has been slowly but surely increasing in his overall, can now start to compete for starting 11 spots. Manager rating still in the red, but an improvement from last year, and things are looking up heading into season 5. Still some questions to ask for in this Sporting squad. How can we make up for the departure of Ronaldo? Is Thiago Thomas ready to be the main man? I'm still not sure about that. But looking over the board objectives, it's going to be pretty easy for us to see our manager rating get a rise as far as domestic success, similar to last year, and continentally, we want us to reach the Champions League final. Again, taking part in the qualification round, but we'll showcase that a little bit more later. Roughly $200 million in the transfer budget. This far into the slate, we're going to run into some newly created players. Ronaldo, having retired, will have his regen now available. Usually when the player retires for your own team, they are free agents, but this time around, he was automatically recreated for another club in the Primera Liga. It's a lot to spend on a single player, but with potential to be special, that's the sort of signing we need to make. We will review this offer for Marcus Edwards. Newcastle, I thought it was fitting with them having the takeover to look to sign some top English talent playing abroad, which is kind of the philosophy they've taken in recent transfer windows. It's again going to be a 9-digit fee for this transfer as Marcus Edwards makes his return to the Premier League. But we'll get into the qualification round against Rangers. Here's the starting 11. Medeiros at an 84 overall will likely reach an even higher rating than Ronaldo had for us. And Castro, our best youth academy finds to date, so we'll get his chance at the right winger position. Simulations 1-0 in the first leg against Rangers, 3-1 in the second leg, putting us up against to shift us in the playoff round. I believe we matched against them in the group stage before, and we're going to have similar luck as we advance 3-1 on aggregate. The Champions League group will consist of City, Club Brugge, and FCSB. Reviewing results in January 2026. We're going into the trend of second place in Portugal, but we will again finish second in our Champions League. Positive result, especially because we finished equal on a point. As expected, Medeiros has gone up in his ratings with 87, but Neto is starting to get on page, so I think goalkeeper signing may be needed. Why not look to have another former Sporting player return to the club? Luis Maximiano has made the move to La Liga IRL, but in this AB's over at Napoli, you have 2 quality goalkeepers with Maximiano and Leo. Philly would probably be fine with having one of them leave. Ultimately, $55 million to make this transfer final. And I believe this will be the missing piece for us to achieve Champions League success and head in to the knockout round, starting with a picture against Leverkusen in round of 16. 4-2 in the first leg, you'll see it's a goal from the midfield. And in the second leg, Leverkusen do get the win, but we advance due to aggregates into the quarterfinals against Liverpool. We've had a lot of success against in this rebuild. That continues here. 3-1 in the first leg, 5-2 in the second leg, an 8-3 scoreline. We match us up against Atletico Madrid in the semifinals. It's our 2 Brazilian players, Lincoln and Castro, who get goals in the first leg. 1-0 result in the second leg means that we have finally reached the Champions League final. How about this for an opponent? It it's Chelsea. I was ready for the rematch against Gonçalves. Chelsea haven't been eliminated in the Champions League against them before. We'll be looking forward. We had a good second half of the season as we finished top of the league in Portugal. Again, an early exit in the quarterfinals of the Taça Portuguesa, with Porto winning the competition. But this will be the final match we play, the last piece of silverware we're looking to achieve here in Sporting. And I think because of the glitch where players are playing out of position, Gonçalves wasn't available in their starting lineup. Either that, or missed this final due to suspension. And we've had several close calls in this rebuild, reaching the semi-final on several occasions. And now is our chance to finally achieve the peak of European success as far as club competitions go. Getting into these highlights, and 13 minutes in from a set piece, Colombia, who's now playing as a center back, and nearly scores on the corner kick. It was a key making the transfer to Chelsea. A good effort on target by Cristiano with a solid save. Cabral timed this run perfectly to avoid the offside trap. And it is the Ronaldo regen, Medeiros, who opens up the scoring in this Champions League final. 34 minutes in, we are ahead. It's Lincoln who will find Nunez. Our midfield is just so stacked. They are so high in their overall rating, and that means we're able to achieve some of these long shot efforts, doubling our lead. Take a look at this replay. Just getting by the Chelsea defenders. That's the outstretched arm of the man. Can we achieve similar momentum in the second half? He gives the ball from Mason out to find the team, but Simiano equal to it. It's such a solid save. Just good reflexes, a good stretch to deny that effort from the Chelsea attacker. Clearly the choice between the GK spot has paid off. I think a third goal should seal it for us, and it's Medeiros that's played through in the 54th minute. With so much quality and so much potential, he's able to pull off his chip effort. I think at this point there is very slim odds that Chelsea find their way back into this one. We can just see out the rest of the match. Keep on watching this chip shot. All in all, not a whole lot went Chelsea's way in this one. I mean, there was that solid save from Maximiano to deny the more keen effort, and here the rebound going off of N'Golo Kanté, but he is going to be called for offside. It was the final chance in this Champions League final. Would have been a consolation goal in the end, but a 3-0 result will mean Champions League success for us here at Sporting. I thought we did a pretty good job with this rebuild, focusing heavily on player departures, maintaining realism with the overall ratings, and also seeing a couple of youth academy prospects break into the starting lineup. Covering all competitions, Arsenal will again see success in the Europa League, Anderlecht with a win in the Conference League, Medeiros leading the club in goals and scoring more goals than Ronaldo did last year. As for the assist category, it's Cabral who led the way with 12, and Castro all the way up to an 87 overall. Good growth this season. I quickly want to cover some of the top potential players that left the club, starting with Gonçalves. He achieved a 94 overall. Definitely would have made the difference in Champions League. Pedro Porro up to a 90, still at Manchester City. Nuno Mendes up to an 88 overall, still at Barcelona. And finally, Gonzalo Plata has moved around a bit, ending this rebuild at Wolfsburg with an 85 overall. Our manager rating ends at a 71, but here's a final look at the Sporting